Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to today's live broadcast. Let me get all of my cameras right here. How is everybody doing this morning? This is my first early morning training, and I am so happy because I'm a morning person. So I feel like everyone on this call you're going to be my people. First of all, everybody love my mug. It's a little bit messed up, but this is my favorite mug. It says, knowing the Enneagram is my superpower. It's a good mug. Good way to start my day. Well, welcome, guys. We're going to talk about Enneagram and leadership today, which is two of my favorite things to talk about. So get ready. I've kind of got a lot to say. Grab your cup of coffee from your favorite mug, and we're going to jump into it. So my name is Vanessa Fernandez. And I'm coming to you from beautiful sunny South Florida. It is like the best weather here right now. In the summer, it's crazy hot, but in the winter, it's amazing. So I am very happy to be here, and we're going to talk about the Enneagram and leadership because I'm doing a series right now. You're catching me right in the middle. Good morning. Give me waves. Give me hearts. Give me some energy, guys. You're my morning people. Oh my gosh, there's so many morning people on here today. This is awesome. You guys are my people. So I'm in the middle of a series. You're catching me in the middle of a series called 10 Days, 10 Ways. Hey, everybody. And I'm talking about 10 ways that the Enneagram makes your life better. Now, don't get me wrong. There are a million ways that Enneagram makes your life better, but I just thought I'd start with 10. Maybe over the next 10 years, we'll get to a million. Who knows? But right now we're doing 10 ways. And today is day 4. And I'm talking about leadership, how the Enneagram makes leadership better or makes you a better leader. And I'm actually really going to focus on one particular aspect of leadership because I think, hey, Liz, Enneagram 2s, I've got Wisconsin people here, Colorado people here. I mean, snow isn't bad either. Snow's not bad. I don't hate snow. So I'm going to talk about leadership today. And here's sort of the premise of my whole talk. Are you ready? This one is not an easy one to swallow, at least not for me. You guys are probably going to be like, yeah. You are only as good a leader as you are a listener. Anybody else that hit like right here? Right here. You are only as good a leader as you are a listener. And so we are going to talk today about how the Enneagram makes you a better listener. Because leadership is impossible if you are not connected to the people you're leading and you are not aware of what their needs are. Leadership is service, guys. Leadership is being willing to take on the responsibility of bringing structure and bringing vision and bringing energy to a group of people or a project that you're working on. Leadership is saying, I will take responsibility for this. Doesn't mean doing all the work yourself, which I always struggle with that. It doesn't mean bossing everybody around. It means simply being the one who has the vision and the ability to structure. And the only way you can do that is if you're a good listener. The only way you can lead well is if you're a good listener. So we're going to talk about how each stance might struggle with listening. Each stance has an obstacle before them when it comes to listening well. And let me just review what stances are. So the Enneagram has 9 types. Those 9 types are grouped into groups of 3. We have 3 triads and we have 3 stances. The aggressive stance moves against people in order to accomplish what they need to accomplish. The dependent stance moves toward people, using people as information cues on how they are to be in the world. So they kind of get their cues from other people. They move toward people. And the withdrawing stance moves away from people. They have a deep inner world and they have a deep sense of independence. They kind of move away from people. Aggressive stance, we're going to start with you, and that is numbers 3, 8, and 7. So if you are 3, 8, and 7, you're in the aggressive stance. And the obstacle you have to listening well is speed, being in the future. Aggressive stance numbers are future oriented, having a quick mind, and assuming that you know where this is all going. So when you have a conversation with someone, it can be tempting. And listen, there are varying degrees of health here. If you are a very healthy, aggressive type, not accusing anyone of anything, I'm an aggressive type, and I know all these things are true for me. So let me just get that out of the way. A lot of times when you're having conversations with people, it may be tempting to say, oh, I know where this is going. Oh, I know what they're going to say. Oh, I know what they're thinking. And that assumption is a huge obstacle to actually listening well, to actually giving someone space to fully express what they're thinking and hear them out for what they're saying. Listening is everything when it comes to leadership. And with aggressive types, because they're moving so fast, because they are in the future, listening is not always something that's valued or that's a priority. So the very first growth activity that I would give to you if you're an aggressive type is to make listening a priority. There is an incredible book that I read called Never Split the Difference, and it's written by a former FBI hostage negotiator. It's really good, but the biggest takeaway I got from it is if you want to communicate well with someone, you have to listen well. When they're doing hostage negotiations, the most important thing that they're doing, they literally have, I don't know, maybe like 4 or 5 different people who are all just listening. Their only job is to listen. One person's listening for, it's a great book. I highly recommend it. One person is listening for background noise. One person is listening for certain words that might be repeated by the hostage takers. Everyone has a different thing that they're listening for. And all of this information is what allows the hostage negotiator to have enough influence on the hostage takers to negotiate the release. Now, being a leader is not the same as being a hostage negotiator, but sometimes it is a little bit. When you're trying to exert, leadership is exerting influence over others. The only way that we can properly do that is by making them feel heard, listening to what not only they're saying, but what they're not saying, and being able to communicate to them in a way that will affect their hearts, that will affect them. So make listening a priority if you are an aggressive type. And then one of the great techniques that was in this book is the idea of mirroring back to someone what they just said. So if you're a leader and you're an aggressive type, I would encourage you to give this a try. When you're having a conversation with someone who you are trying to lead, mirror back to them. It sounds like you're saying, and then tell them what you're hearing. It sounds like you're saying that this whole area of our project is disorganized. It sounds like you're saying you don't feel ready to move into this direction. It sounds like you're saying, and tell them what you're hearing. This will do a couple of things. It will prompt them to give you even more information. So if you're on the right track, they'll say, yes, that's exactly what I'm saying, because da 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 da, and they'll keep giving you more information. As an aggressive type, slow down, engage, and listen. Listen to that more information. And I know it's difficult, aggressive numbers, especially if the people you're leading or someone in your team that you're leading is a very abundant talker. It can be difficult to slow down and really listen. But if you're listening from the stance of what this person has to say is valuable, is pertinent to my leadership, and staying with them and engaging with them makes them feel valuable and valued, that will help you to tether you so that you're not just thinking, oh my gosh, they're running their mouth and I have a million things to get to, but to really sink in, listen to what they're saying and allow them to feel fully heard. And if you need to schedule more time in your day, when you know you're having a meeting with someone like that, schedule more time in your day. Just build it in. Build it in that you are only as good a leader as you are a listener. This is a priority, and I'm going to schedule this into my time. So mirroring back to people who you're talking with, asking them, it sounds like you're saying this, giving them space to elaborate and give you more information, or give them space to disagree with you. No, that's not at all what I'm saying. No, that's not at all what I mean. When you mirror back to them what you're hearing, you give them the opportunity to either confirm or deny. And that can be huge because misunderstandings can wreak havoc when you are a leader trying to move forward. You want to get misunderstandings out of the way as quickly as possible. Be cautious, aggressive types, that you don't get so far ahead of the band that you become a one-person show, right? If you think of a marching band and you think of the baton thrower, whoever it is, the band leader who's marching out ahead, aggressive types, it can be so easy for us to get so far ahead of the band. We turn into a one-person show. And I don't want that for you, but listening is a huge step to slowing yourself down and helping the rest of your team stay connected to you. All right, let's move on to dependent types. Dependent stance types are types 1, 2, and 6. So if you're in the dependent stance, this is your obstacle to listening well. Dependent stance can tend to overthink. They can tend to read into things. They can tend to assume if this, then that. If they said this, then that must mean X, Y, and Z. If they did this, then that must mean X, Y, and Z. And it tends to always swirl around how they think of you personally or how they are reacting to you personally. So dependent types can tend to take things personally as they make assumptions. So dependent types, you are thinking repressed, which all that means is that your thinking is not always productive. You think a ton, you're very smart, but sometimes your thinking is not productive. And that's where the overthinking or the reading into things that might not be there can be an obstacle to listening well. Because if you're listening to someone, but then you've got your own monologue going on of, oh my gosh, they said this, it must mean that, then I have to do this, and then this is what they think of me. You're not really hearing what they're actually saying, but you're hearing all the subtext that you're filling in, which may or may not be true. So my encouragement to you, my growth activity for you, if you're a leader who's a dependent type, is engage your thinking and ask yourself when you start going down those rabbit trails, is that true? Is that really true? My assumptions of if this, then that, is that really true? Once you engage your thinking, then you can ask clarifying questions. So where aggressive types kind of need to mirror back and say, it sounds like you're thinking or sounds like you're saying X, Y, and Z. Dependent types, you need to ask clarifying questions where you say, when you said this, do you mean that? So rather than assuming as a dependent type that you know what the subtext is, simply ask. If you're a leader, it's your job to listen well. So ask, when you said this, did you mean that? Asking those clarifying questions can allow you to do a couple of things. It can allow you, first of all, to truly understand the other person. And usually when that happens, it reminds you that this is not about me. Because dependent types tend to take things personally, it's helpful when you ask these clarifying questions to realize, oh, when they said that, it's about them and fears that they're having or struggles that they're having or a situation that they need help with. It's not about me. And that is such a helpful place if you're a dependent type and a leader, because you cannot lead people when your worth and validation lies in their hands. That's just a recipe for disaster. So being able to ask those clarifying questions as a dependent type is paramount to you listening well. Dependent types, be cautious in your collaborative style of leadership, which is phenomenal. I love dependent type leaders because their leadership style is so collaborative. They want everyone to have a voice. They want everyone to be heard. So they are good at bringing people in. They're not like the aggressive types who will just be a mile ahead of the marching band doing their own thing. They bring people in. They have a collaborative leadership style. but be careful you don't lose your own voice and you don't lose your bearings. And what that means is what I was just talking about, where you assume things, you read into things. And when all of that sort of misinformation or assumptions are floating around, you lose your bearings. You lose your bearings as a dependent type leader. And it can be hard for you to chart a course, and it can be hard for you to know what your own internal voice is saying. So it's great that you lead collaboratively, but that's the caution for you. All right, let's move into withdrawing types. Withdrawing type leaders, your obstacle to listening and withdrawing types are 4s, 5s, and 9s. They move away. Your obstacle to listening is that listening requires engaging with others, and engaging requires coming out of yourself and your deep inner world. So withdrawing types, 5s have a deep inner world of thought. 4s have a deep inner world of feelings, and 9s have a deep inner world of harmony and peace and tranquility. And in order for you to listen well, you have to step out of that and engage with others. It takes energy, and withdrawing types have the lowest amount of energy in the Enneagram. It's going to take intentionality. Whereas aggressive types kind of don't mind rubbing shoulders and bumping into people and asking them questions and having conversations. I mean, we move too fast, so we don't really listen, but we don't mind all of that. And dependent types certainly don't mind interacting and asking and listening and connecting with people. It comes naturally. Of course, dependent types need to be careful of all the things I just spoke about. Withdrawing types, just to get to the point where you are engaged enough with someone to listen to them, is going to be the whole struggle for you. It's going to be the whole obstacle for you. So my encouragement to you is, first of all, make it an intention, make it a priority to listen to others, to engage with them, and also be mindful of your intention behind it. So if you're a type 5, for example, be careful that it's not just a fact gathering conversation when you are listening to those you're leading, but that you see the person. And again, it just simply takes being mindful and choosing to listen from that intention, from that position. Type 4s, pay attention to the details, the minutia. If you're a type 4 and you're a leader, you have an incredible way of setting vision and having a vision for how the world could be and how your team could produce and all of that. But the minutia and the monotony of being a leader and the details, it may not be something that you're naturally drawn to. Pay attention to those details. And then type 9s, don't fear the conflict. Similarly to the dependent types, I would encourage type 9s to remember it's not about you. If you're asking someone questions that you're leading and that person has constructive criticism or feedback, as often is the case, you have to be able to detach your worth from what they're saying. You have to be able to engage in even perceived conflict or perceived lack of peace and kind of put on your big girl pants and be a boss about it, be a leader and engaged and really grow into that experience. All right, my last encouragement for all of you leaders, all of you amazing leaders in all the different stances, aggressive stance leaders, you need people. Slow down enough, connect with them, and use all of your amazing gifts to bear to lead well. Dependent stance, you need to be sure of yourself and your voice. Yes, you can listen to others, and yes, sometimes your own internal dialogue gets you a little carried away, but stay true to your voice and bring all of your gifts to bear to be an incredible leader. And withdrawing types, not engaging will cost you more than engaging. Do not skip over the step of engaging and listening to those you are leading, because you have incredible gifts to bear as a leader, and we all want to benefit from them. All right, that's it. That's my training on leadership and the Enneagram. I hope this has given you a lot to think about. Listening well is not easy for any type or for any stance, and this is where we're going to start growing in that. I am so excited not only to teach you guys on this, but also to just remind you that the doors to my first course, Enneagram for Individuals, are open right now. Woo! I wish there was something like confetti that I had. Tomorrow I will have confetti to throw at this moment of the of the teaching. And Enneagram for Individuals is where I take the Enneagram, just like what I'm doing here. I teach on it, but then I don't stop there because that's just going to gather dust on your bookshelf in your brain. I teach on the Enneagram and then I show you how to use it. I show you how to make your life better with it. I mix teaching with coaching. And then the last thing that comes with the Enneagram for Individuals course is a community. You cannot understand the Enneagram on your own because it's a theory of personality, and being in community is what brings it to life. So I really want to teach, I want to coach, and I want to help you bring this to life so that it's not just something that's, oh, it's so cute, I know my number, but it's, oh my gosh, I'm a better leader. I'm a better parent. I'm better in relationships. We're going to talk about health and fitness. We're going to talk about how to connect to your heart center, your body center, the next 10 days. I've got so much I want to share with you, and this is just the tip of the iceberg. And Enneagram for Individuals is where we just all totally unpack it and get into it and make our lives better from learning the Enneagram. So check it out. Let me know if you have any questions about the course. I'll be talking about it a little bit more, but I just wanted to let you guys know about my baby that I just released into the world. I'm so excited about it. And I'm just thrilled to be able to teach in any capacity and make your life just a little bit better, because that's what the Enneagram does. All right, friends, have a great, great Monday. Make it amazing. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye.